All right, what is good by Chubby Bar Time students? Today we're back here for episode 8 of Rice to Nice. Now, today I felt as if it was time for some change in the series. I know the videos have been absurdly long, even though I have tried to put timestamps for different chapters of the videos if you didn't want to watch the whole thing, if you were just there for certain things. I felt as if the first 7 episodes finally really got my point across as far as where my mind is when I'm customizing cars. Kind of a behind the scenes, if you will. Just straight from the source as I'm customizing the car, showing you guys pretty much everything. I feel like I've pretty much got my point across with those 7 videos. So from now on, what we're going to do is quite literally, I'm going to show you guys the riced out version of the car. And then I'm immediately just going to show you guys what it looks like after I'm done customizing it. And then I'll go over the build sheet and explain why I picked certain parts or what other parts could work. But it will not only shorten the video length, because I'm sure you, like me personally, when I see videos on YouTube that are really long, it kind of turns me away from them, especially if I don't have time to watch them. And I get that. And it will also be a lot easier on me for editing, so I can get these videos out quicker and potentially do 2 a week versus just 1. So I felt it was time for a needed change, but let me know if you guys prefer, let me know if you guys prefer this style of video more than the previous, or if you do want me to go back to just showing my full customization. I'm down for whatever. This will just be easier for me, and I feel like a lot more people, it'll be easier to consume content-wise for other people, but let me know. So without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce today's car, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we have the BF Club, an OG car, but I couldn't leave it out of the Season 1 mix. And again, these are all of the cars so far that we have covered, episodes 1 through 7. If you haven't checked them out already, please do. As you guys can see, I've been trying to go with a pretty diverse group of cars, right? We're trying to go in between like JDM, European, and then some muscle cars, kind of thrown within the mix. So I've kind of just been going back and forth. Maybe we'll do some trucks or some other cars in the future. Let me know what you guys want to see. But today we have this, I would say beautiful, but it's kind of just here. The BF draft, the BF Club, or the Mark 1 Golf. It's kind of mixed with like some Fiesta parts and other things like that. But it's pretty sick. Obviously, this looks absolutely horrible. Again, I kind of went for like a 2010 stance scene. With the white steelies and some sticker bomb and some rust, and it's just, I don't know, man. It just does not look good to me. Some of these cars look sick in real life when they're like rusted out with like some like white steelies or something slammed to the floor. Mostly like older Volkswagens, I'll be honest. But this just does not work, and I feel like I did really well making this all work together, even though how terrible it is. Because I mean, we've got speakers ratchet strapped to the roof. Rust everywhere, sticker bomb. We've got bolt-on fender flares. It's just the Bose Soku, like turned up pipes. It's a mess, man. It's a mess. We've even got like a headlight delete. It's got like headlight covers. So I just felt like we threw it all in there. But today, of course, we're gonna make it better. I did just want to kind of go over everything that I had done to make it look terrible. And if you guys didn't know already, it physically hurts me to make these cars look like this. I just want you to know that. Like, it actually kind of hurts me a little bit to sit here and make these cars look like this. But yeah, this is the car riced. Now we will switch to it nice. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here is the car officially nice. As you can tell, we've changed a lot. I actually really, really like how this car turned out. One of my better builds for sure, even though there's not much customization on this car. We went with a very simplistic idea going in to just make your typical car show worthy Mark 1 Golf. And I feel as if this turned out extremely well. There's just so much to this car that screams like simple, but also, hey, look at me, I'm cool. So that's kind of what I was going for, is something very clean and simple, but something very eye-catching at the same time, and something that just flows really well all together, while also kind of implementing what has worked for people with the real-life cars, And that's kind of how I wanted to envision this going in. what have other people done with this car in real life with like a Mark 1 Golf, and kind of build upon it from that. But without further ado, we will go ahead and hop back in it, and I will go over the build sheet with you guys if you guys would like to make a 1-to-1 replica, or if you guys just want some inspiration for your own build of this car right now. All right, now we can go over the build sheet for the vehicle. So of course, armor I always go with 40%. It's just a speed glitch thing I've always done. It also helps with like stance glitches on certain cars too. You don't really need it here though because the car's pretty slammed on its own. Bodywork, we decided to go for nothing because the only thing we have options for is sticker bomb and carbon, and it just looks absolutely horrible no matter what way you try to spin it. Of course, it could kind of work with the Rice build like I did earlier if you want to go like a 2010s like Rice, or a 2010 stance, I mean, with like some sticker bomb and some like white steelies and some rust or whatever, but it doesn't really look good most places. Of course, the brakes are maxed out. For bumpers, there's quite a few good options here, I feel. However, the chrome stock bumper just will forever hit on these cars. I don't know why. You could even work with just the regular stock bumper with just the black plastic. They look really good to me. I am not a big fan of removing bumpers on cars like this because of how naked it makes the front end of the car look. Certain cars can pull it off. I don't think that this one can. It just looks very naked and very much like it has an overbite in the front of the car. The bumpers really just kind of give it a more of a chin, as I've always kind of said, and that just makes the car look better as a whole. The low-level bumper isn't terrible, however, it just looks too small to me. There's just like too much of the front of the car showing, but it could work potentially if you kind of formulated the build around it. I just am not a huge fan of it. The full bumper could work really well as well. I just hate how it kind of looks like it overlays the front bumper. It doesn't look like it is the front bumper. It looks like it's just slapped on top of an existing front bumper. If you can kind of tell here, I don't know if I can zoom. There we go. Like right where the fender meets the bumper right there, or the wheel well. It just looks like it's overlaid, and I just did not like that little detail because it looks tacky, like it was just self-tappered onto the car kind of thing. But it doesn't look bad as far as the style of the bumper goes. It definitely drops the actual ride height of the car, making it kit low, as the kids are calling it nowadays. The carbon racing bumper, I'm just not a fan of. It does look a little bit better than the low-level bumper because it is the same bumper essentially. It just adds a carbon strip, but it keeps the indicators, which I actually do kind of like. I just don't like the carbon, and it also changes the front lip to carbon as well. I'm just not a fan. The mounting cooler, again, with the deleted front bumper, I just don't like it, and then you add a carbon lip at the bottom. It just doesn't work for me. The racing kit could work. I'm actually not against this one all that much. We have an oil cooler on the front, I believe, and then we've got just a pretty simple, more newer style front lip on it, I guess you could say. It's not really as retro as the other bumpers. And then we've got the competition kit, which again, I just am not a huge fan of. It looks like it adds maybe an intercooler with like a water sprayer potentially. I don't know, there's some pretty small pipes. But yeah, I just was not a fan of it. So we ended up going with the chrome stock bumper. It's just tried true, it's classic, it looks good no matter how you build it. Right. For the rear bumper, of course, we did the exact same. We're going with chrome stock here as well. Again, the stock rear bumper could also work. It just looks a little bit too big to me. I don't know if it's just all that black plastic. They're the exact same size, but the chrome adds like a nice split in color, and it just works so much better. Like if the whole bumper is chrome, I don't think it would work, but that black plastic strip really just sets it off just right. Removing the bumper, again, I'm just not a huge fan of removing bumpers on these styles of cars for the most part, because the rear just looks naked, dude. It looks like there's supposed to be something there, and there's not. And it adds those little like vents for like where the bumper would be mounted to, and it's just, I don't know, it's an eyesore to me. Like maybe if it was like a fully filled out one, and then we got rid of those vents, maybe it could potentially work, but it still just looks naked, and I just don't like it. The low-level bumper, again, it still makes the rear of the car look naked, in my opinion. We have all this empty space between the bumper and the exhaust, and it's just more of an eyesore than anything. The full bumper, unironically, is one of the best ones. It does not look as overlaid as the front bumper did because it's hidden a lot better. Again, that could just be, this car is older, so it could just be the textures, but it looks a lot better. It just does not flow super smoothly with the fender, if you can tell. That little gap right there, I would like it to just kind of curve with a little bit more, and then I could maybe justify throwing it on, and it also covers up the exhaust quite a bit. Which again is why I didn't really want to go with it. And then the full carbon, just can't do it. Again, the same thing as the low level. It's too much sticking out, you know? There's too much empty space, as I would like to say. Engine is maxed out. For the exhaust, we normally go chrome big bore. However, I felt it just did not work here. I know. I'm a huge fan of massive fucking Canon exhaust. I really am. But I just did not feel as if it worked here. I think the chrome performance exhaust works so much better. It's a long skinny tip that's angled to the right a little bit. The chrome track exhaust is also not bad. It's just a little bit higher up, and I kind of wanted this one to kind of shoot downward a little bit more. I don't know, it just looks a little bit more aggressive that way to me. The blast pipes don't look absolutely horrible. I just hate the kind of staining on them. That would have looked much better in just all chrome, just to be honest. I don't know why they keep adding textures that don't need to be there. Stock exhaust, just couldn't do it, of course. And then the tuner exhaust is just too small for me. The chrome performance just fit oh so perfectly, so that's why I went with that. Fenders, I went with an abstract option here, I'll be honest. Typically, I prefer leaving like fenders just in their stock form. However, on this car, as you can see, there's no like side trim molding anywhere to kind of match with the plastic on the front bumper and the rear bumper. So it felt like the side of the car was lacking something. It needed some kind of detail to split the paint up because we went with a pretty wild color. So I felt as if just throwing a little bit of plastic over them worked really well. And of course, it's right beside the bumpers, so you see, your eyes see that, and you're like, oh, they recognize that it's the same color and same material. And it's almost soothing, especially because we're matching the paint of the wheels as well. So it just looks like it's an added feature. It's almost like an OEM Plus kind of thing to me. The full covers I did not feel worked. Unironically, these full like plastic riveted on arches to me work on older cars like this really, really well, like on your like Datsun, like 180Zs and stuff like that. Like older boxy cars sometimes benefit from these, but the rivets throw me off, and it was just too much on the side of the car. So this was kind of my happy medium, if that makes sense. It flows super smooth. We still have the same style arches. We just added like a thin half layer of ABS black plastic, and I feel it worked really, really well to kind of split up the paint on the sides of the car, because I would have really liked to do like a two-tone with my primary color and then like a black strip through the bottom, but that just wasn't an option here, so we decided to go with this to be the next best thing. Headlight covers, I opted for none. I think the front of the car looks perfect the way it is. It's very timeless. The horizontal tape, just too much. The cross tape was too much. This isn't a race car. It would look kind of cool, but for what I was envisioning, it just seemed a bit too much. Not as clean looking. The covers look really sick as well, but I want this car to be practical. I want the headlights to work. And I feel as if it just kind of takes away from the front of the car more than adding anything. Now, something I really would have liked would have been like some like slits above the actual headlights to kind of make them look angry, maybe, or just kind of chilling. I don't know. That would have been kind of cool to me, but I just don't know how it would have worked potentially, so we left them stock. Also, to mention, I did go to the Los Santos car meet and throw on the golden shower or the yellow headlight actual LEDs, because these come with white for some reason, and yellow works on classic cars, and I will die on that hill. It just looks better. Hood. Unironically, I did opt to remove the hood. And again, that is because we have a lot of paint with not many places where it's broken up. The stock hood looks good, of course, but after seeing some builds of this car online, like I've always said, if you guys are kind of stuck making a car, look up the real-life counterpart to whatever you're building and just kind of see what other people have done. And a lot of people run these cars with no hoods. And at first I was kind of like, it's kind of ugly, but the engine bay is like very nicely tucked. Like there's not a whole lot showing, not a whole lot of random wires. We've just got our engine, which looks like potentially an RB26 or an SR20, or maybe even a K24. I don't know. The red top throws me off a little bit. It's just kind of like a standard engine they throw in a GTA. But I don't know. It still looks sick regardless. It's obviously an engine. It's not supposed to be there, right? I'm pretty sure these things came carbureted with probably like a 4-cylinder. I can't remember. I'm not a Volkswagen guy. But I don't know. It just looks sick. It looks like it's a fully built engine bay, you know? It's like a shaved engine bay almost. So I felt it was nice to show it off. And again, we're going with like a clean show car. And a lot of these show car Mark 1s run no hood because they have a shaved engine bay or a sick engine swap. So that felt the best to me. Sticker bomb hood just did not work. Carbon hood was too much. Low level vented looks funny to me. I just do not like it at all. This one looks the absolute worst to me, the club racing hood. The twin vents I can fuck with, I can get down with. And then the competition hood I really, really like. I just am not a huge fan of the hood pins. They were kind of off-putting to me. And again, the skinned hood is just fucking horrible. I absolutely hate these. I hate these with a passion. But I don't know, man. Something about removing the hood just did it for me. I don't know. It split up the colors exactly where they needed to be split. It didn't look too out of place for this car. And I think it worked quite well, so I quite enjoyed it. It was something different that I don't really typically do on builds, so it's kind of taking a chance, but I feel like it landed exactly where I needed it to. And it worked out very well. I like it. I like it. For the livery, we opted for none. Again, I would have liked to see like some black trim molding across the side or something. This is the closest we have to it. But the added stripes were just a bit too much. Just a bit too much. Breaks up the color a little too much. I would have liked something like this, but just like in plain black. Would have been kind of sick. I would have been okay with that, but sticker bomb just wasn't doing it. All these are race oriented or just way too much. So just opted against all of them. Again, you could make some sick builds with rust, but the problem is you'd have to put the hood back on because it does not do the engine bay. So wah, wah. I mean, maybe if you went like a black or like a matte black, potentially it could work, but I just couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. Plate, of course, we've got the yellow on black. It's just the best one, and it matches here with the times 2 spec because it's no longer rice. So now we get into the actual respray or the paint of the car, the color of the car, and what I believe is the most important part, especially to start off with when you're building something like this, or just any car in general. It really helps you kind of see the vision that you want to do for the car. Because certain colors are going to make you sway different ways. They're going to make you pick different parts. Some colors you're going to want chrome with. Some colors you're not going to want chrome with. Some colors you're going to maybe change what kind of wheels you would like on the car. I don't know. It just really sets the tone of the build entirely, which is what I always, or why I always choose or opt to go with it first. But for both the primary and secondary color of this car, we went with a classic sienna brown. Now, to the normal eye, you might think, dude, that's just brown. Like, it doesn't matter. It's just brown, right? All browns are brown. No. You'd be terribly mistaken. This is the most beautiful brown in the game. Not really, but it is a very, very sick looking color because it's not just brown. It has red undertones, and it really pops. Like, it's almost a vibrant color if you catch in the right lighting. And I felt it worked really, really well with the hood off too, just because of the red engine cover. And those red undertones almost complement that. It's not too drastic of like different colors from like a blue to like the red, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a smooth transition from your eyes to seeing this like reddish brown to just like an actual bright red. It's a smooth transition. And again, like, it's not your typical brown, like a maple brown. Like, this could work too, but I felt for this car we needed an OEM style color. And this looked like it could have definitely most certainly been painted on a car in the 70s when this car was being made. And it just worked super well. Like, all of your OEM style colors are going to work really well on this car, especially if you're wanting to go this direction with your build, like a show car or just your typical like resto mod. Like your darker browns and greens and just kind of crazy-ish looking colors, but not super. You don't really see these colors much anymore nowadays, like your cream colors. I mean, black is always going to work on everything. White's going to work on everything. Silver looks good. Some of the reds even look good. I think a darker would look the best. like a sunset red, which is what I almost went with because it's very, very similar to that brown, as you can tell. But it just felt so right, and we decided to go against metallic for the special reason that when you throw a pearlescent on, even if you're throwing the exact same color as the pearlescent on, which is what I like to do a lot just to keep it looking clean and not have like two random colors clashing, the engine bay is not affected by the pearlescent. So that was also a big problem to me, and I did not like it. And I don't like how the sunstrip is affected by the pearlescent. I feel like those should be swapped. I feel like the sunstrip should not have pearlescent, but the engine bay should match the same paint. So that's why we opted to go with just a classic color, and I felt this color fit the car so well, and it really helped me envision what I wanted to do. Because it accents the black, and it accents the chrome, and it accents the engine bay and the engine cover. And it was just beautiful. Absolutely fucking beautiful. For the roof, there's a few different ways I almost went here. Again, I am typically very, very against window louvers, but they look so good on this car. Because without it, the back glass seems so naked, and it's so large and like strangely shaped. It's got a strange curvature to it. The window louvers really just help fill out that gap. You know what I mean? Like there's a big gap here. The window louvers fill it out to where it's almost flush. It's a very good accent to the body lines. However, I almost did decide to go with a chrome roof rack. Something about it just works on these cars. To be completely honest, it looks fucking sick. Especially when they're slammed and stands like this. I don't know, just roof racks work, but I do think they work best on 4-door cars. 2 doors, they just don't really hit the same. The custom rack, this just looked too new. This one looked more like classy and classic, so if I had to go with one, I'd go with this one. But it did add just a bit more chrome than I really wanted on the car, because I feel like we've got a lot now already. Of course, we don't want the mobile rave station. That just is not doing it. The tires also not doing it, but I do like that style of roof rack on this car. Just not the way we wanted to go, but it could work. It very much could work. And again, I like the louvers because we have that same black plastic that is everywhere else on the car. I like these details that match with each other, you know? I like everything to flow well with like tiny details that just make sense. That's how I like to build a car. Some symmetry and some similarities, right? For the spoiler, a couple of things that could work well here, but I felt this worked the best, just your primary roof wing. Because the car is lacking in the department of the roof, of course. We've got this massive slanted down roof where the car is just flat, 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 slant. To kind of offset that a bit, this primary roof wing is perfect. It also matches the same curvature, style, and almost exact shape as the louvers. And oh, buddy, that made my heart skip a little beat when I saw that. Because again, I like the symmetry. If you went with the plastic roof wing, dude, it looks like it just adds another louver up there, which is sick, yes, but it's a problem because it just looks too much. There's just too much black going on, right? So the primary wing looks the best to me. If you went without the louvers, I feel as if the plastic one would look the best. I'm not a huge fan of the drift wings. I feel as if they are a bit too much. That angle is super fucking sharp, and it's very noticeable. It's very eye-catching in a bad way. The primary competition wing, again, is just also fucking horrible. Not gonna work. And then, if you're throwing a chassis wing on this, a chassis mounted wing on this, see me after class, because that does not work in any shape or form at any time ever on these cars. It does not work. And it's a front-wheel drive car. Yes, wings aren't only meant to be for like grip on the drive tires, but dude, like why in the fuck would you put a drag wing on this? Or like not a drag wing, just a chassis mounted wing. It just does not look good at all. Don't do it. Sun strips, we did decide to add one just to kind of break up how massive the fucking front window is. I don't know. It looks sick. I would have liked it to be like a black plastic to, again, kind of complement the other parts on the car that involve it. But it just kind of worked. It was simple, clean, classy. Again, added another show aspect to it. I would have liked to thrown like a sponsor on it or something, you know, like have some words on it. But it is what it is. It just worked out. I don't like the side paneling. That just looks funny to me. And then, of course, the sticker mom and carbon was a no-go. No-go. Suspension, we're actually not all the way slammed, and that is because of our wheel choice. So there's typically two different size wheels in the game. You've got your smaller wheels with like a tuner fitment that are kind of like almost stretch tires, and then you've got your like full-sized wheels, which most of the time have these skinnier tires on it, like a 35 sidewall. And because of that, because these are bigger than what is meant to be put on the car, when you are on competition suspension, the tire actually glitches through the fender a little bit. That is an eyesore to me. I do like how low the car looks, but we're tucking here. This is more fender to lip. So we want sport. Of course, when you're driving, it still shakes through it a little bit, so it, you know, fucks it up from time to time, but it is what it is. This looked the best to me, and it just worked with our wheel choice. Transmission and turbo are maxed out, and speaking of wheels, our wheel choice was a bit different. I was bouncing between quite a few, and I will go over like my top 3 that I wanted to put on this car. But these ended up just looking so good. I mean, Volkswagens are kind of known for running like crazy looking aero dishes and like stuff like that, and just, I don't know, these just ended up looking like period correct would be the best term, I feel. They look like they belonged on the car the most. And the colors and the chrome and just everything just worked. It just worked. Like, these are perfect. They're the retro 3 pieces in the track category, and my God, they just work. That's all I can say is just they look so perfect. They fit so well. Yes, the rivets might be a bit much, but I felt they were needed and they were necessary to add some more detail to the car. And God, it looks good. God, it looks good. There's quite a few wheels that do work with this car, but they just look the best. And again, they look very period correct. I really did like these Speed Boys. I actually went with these originally. I don't know, they just look sick. Very timeless as well. As far as other wheels go, though, there was one in particular I really liked. Obviously, the Cosmo Mark IIs look really good. They're very Euro styled, almost like a BBS wheel in some ways. I don't hate these, the Big Mamas. They work on a lot of retro cars. And then there was a couple other wheels in this category. Of course, the Cosmo Mark IIs with, again, that smaller wheel fitment if you wanted to drop the car a bit more. These would work with that. I just felt it needed some bigger wheels, to be honest. I don't know why I decided to go with bigger ones, but they just worked for me. Especially because it's a show car, right? They're supposed to have your massive fucking wheels, right? I don't know. It just kind of worked for me. And then I did, here's my random wheel, okay? My one that's not used much, or my 2 that aren't used much but are pretty fire. Lowrider, chrome category, towards the bottom. The turbines look fucking sick. Not used nearly enough, and they work really well in this car. Again, like a nice, like, meaty aero dish, right? Just covering up most of the fucking wheel. And then the lead sleds. What led me here was, I was looking for, like, what other people had done with the real-life counterpart, the Mark I Golf. And I saw a car with these on. Something similar to these. Not the exact wheels, of course, but I don't know. They're kind of fucking sick. Of course, these are, like, the Brake Cooker 1000s, but I don't know, man. They looked really sick, so they could work. They could definitely work on a clean, slammed build. And I really liked them, so they're pretty sick. And then I also went into the muscle category to try to find some older style wheels. And I really like the El Jefes. I don't know why. I used them on a lot of cars in the past. I just really like the retro look that they have, but they're also still super aggressive looking. I don't know. They just look sick. They just look really fucking sick. But yeah, that is the wheel choice. And of course, for the wheel color, of course, I went with black faces with chrome lips. I just have something for that, dude. I don't know what it is. Of course, I think I would have almost rather been able to fully chrome the Retro 3 pieces, but we don't have chrome options for street or track. Rockstar, what are we doing? And if you're not going to give us more wheels, add more chrome options, please. Dude, it's just frustrating. No tire design, no tire enhancements, no tire smoke. Windows, ladies and gentlemen, we went with light smoke. Again, it's just the best option. Limo and dark rarely work. It could potentially work here, but light smoke just felt so much better and so much cleaner that it just worked. I always go light smoke. It just looks the best. You can still show off the interior. You can still see your character. It just works the best. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the build. Let's go take a quick test drive and then find a nice place to post up for an edit right now. All right, so we're out here with our beautiful car now, and man, this thing looks sick. Again, we did put the yellow headlights on at the LS car meet, dude. It just looks so much better. It makes the whole thing come together, does it not? But I feel I have a pretty sick location for an edit. This thing's actually insanely fast for what it is, by the way. Like, it moves. It moves. It double clutches pretty well, too. But yeah, I decided to go with a little bit different of an edit spot today. It's not too far of a drive either, but I might cut some of it out depending on what goes down between here and there. Pretty close to our last location, actually, but I thought it was a little different, and I don't think I've ever seen anybody like post up here for a quick flick before, so I feel like it could be pretty cool. But yeah, this thing sounds good, looks even better, and I'm just really happy with how it came out. I might even take a little roller clip real quick right here. Why not, right? But we have arrived. Nice little potholes here, too, to test the suspension out. Ooh. But yeah, I've never seen anybody post up at this, like, abandoned house location.
Jesus, you're gonna kill me!
So I felt it was a pretty sick spot to post up for an edit, honestly. Now, unfortunately, I'll probably have to wait until the next day-night cycle, because I want the sun to hit from this direction rather than this direction where we're pointed at the street. But it is what it is. We could still make it work for now. But yeah, this thing turned out really, really good. This is honestly one of my more favorite builds that I have done as well. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the car is no longer Rice, and we have made it nice. Thank you so much. It's been your boy Bar Times 2. I love you guys. Let's hop into the edit right now.